Welcome to What's in the Pot. I'm your host, Sean Grande, and today we're making Southern style fried fish. It's What's in the Pot. Thank you very much for tuning into What's in the Pot. Now, the fish I'm using today is fresh grunt fish. I've just washed this out in a little bit of lime juice to kill a little bit of that extra freshness. Now, this was caught in the Gulf of Mexico. So big up to my boy Jorge for picking this up for me when he went out fishing. You can use any kind of white fish, any kind of meaty fish, kingfish, grouper, anything like that will work. And now for seasoning, I'm just using a little bit of seasoning. I'm using a little bit of black pepper. I'm using a little bit of this Tony seasoning. The main thing with the Tony seasoning, there's a little bit of paprika, there's a little bit of salt, there's a little bit of cayenne. It has all the flavors you need, especially for making a nice fried fish, a Cajun style fried fish. So once we've seasoned it up, I'm gonna add the last thing is a little bit of mustard. So what happens is the mustard creates a nice tanginess to the fish, as well as it allows you to coat the batter perfectly. So you taste a little bit of mustard, not too much, but allows you to coat the batter of the fish perfectly. I'm going to be using a cornmeal and flour mixture, so you can see there the fish is perfectly seasoned with that mustard, with that black pepper, and that Creole seasoning. So we're going to start making our green seasoning aioli. I'm starting with a little bit of green seasoning mixture, probably about a teaspoon worth. Now, when you're making this, you can adjust this to the amount of aioli you want to make. I'm just making enough for the fish. So I'm going to start with some mayonnaise. I like using just regular classic mayonnaise rather than the Miracle Whip. It has a nice flavor. It's not too tangy. It's a little bit more creamy. Now, if you wanted to add some garlic, you can go ahead and do that. Some people might add a little bit of fresh garlic. That would give it more of a garlic sauce kind of flavor, kind of a flavor you get with shark and bake. I like changing it up a little bit, so I'm adding a little bit of this pimento seasoning, and I'm adding some of this fire sauce, the Taco Bell fire sauce. Ideally, you can use any kind of hot sauce, really up to you on how hot or how spicy you want it. The fire sauce just gives it a nice flavor. It's not too hot. Now, once we do that, we're gonna give it a good mix. Usually after I give it a good mix, you can see there all the flavors, the green seasoning, everything's kind of blended together. I like to put it in the fridge right before I serve it. Now for our batter, I'm using half a cup of cornmeal. This is the cornmeal I got from Calubox, Chief brand cornmeal. Any kind of cornmeal you have in your cupboard, in your pantry, you can use. And I'm using some all-purpose white flour. And I'm also using a little bit of this Old Bay seasoning. Now this is more of a Maryland DMV style seasoning that they use on seafood, but I like to add it just a touch just for when I'm making any kind of seafood. So it's gonna be a southern fried fish still, but with a little touch of that Old Bay. Now we're gonna go ahead and batter up our fish. We want to make sure the batter is completely coated on each piece of the fish. You just want to give it a nice coating and then shake it off. But what you want to do is you want to coat all the fish, then go ahead and fry it instantly. You don't want the batter sitting too long. I have the oil in my pot set to about 360 degrees roughly, and it's absolutely hot. The main thing is, see, when the fish touches that oil, it's frying right away. You want it not to be over hot, but not too low, because you don't want the fish to be oily. And when you're placing the fish in the fryer, don't overcrowd it. You want to give it a little bit of room to breathe so the fish can fry nicely and evenly. I would say you want to cook this maybe about 3 to 5 minutes each side, or ideally golden brown on each side. This is after about maybe 6 minutes of frying. Let me try to show you there. This fish is piping hot. I'm just trying not to burn my hands, but you can see it's nice and golden. It's nice and crispy on both sides. That's the texture and the color we're looking for. This is our final product, and you can see it's absolutely beautiful, nice and crunchy. It's delicious, man, and you can use this with any kind of fish, so it's really up to you the type of fish you want to use. This is really good with some catfish as well. So thank you very much for tuning into What's in the Pot. I'm your host, Sean Grande, reminding you to like, share, and subscribe these videos on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and if you're on YouTube, hit that little bell so you get notifications when we drop another video. Thank you very much for tuning into What's in the Pot. Peace.